What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part, I want to say 8-ish, 7, 8, 9, 8. I'm going to say 8 of my Total War. Hey, it's Khorne's holy number. Total War Warhammer 3 Skulltaker Mortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, Clan Pestilence is destroyed, Lord Skrolk is defeated, and Skulltaker did what the lizards wished, but could never do, which is clear LUSTRIA of Skaven. Not that there's a lot of lizards left here on the mainland to actually see that having happened, but still nice to see. In addition to that, Skulltaker faced off against Rakarth and 3 of his armies, and I dare say Rakarth has earned Skulltaker's respect. And in fact, I have changed my mind. Going on the end of last episode, I figured we'd be moving through this and taking Rakarth's territory, mostly for this landmark, which admittedly is quite nice. However, because of Rakarth's willingness to duel, I think we'll actually vassalize the 1,000 Maws instead of destroying them. Because we still did want access to one of their units, or a couple of their units, namely the Bloodrat Cauldron, and possibly Black Dragons and Medusa in general, as well as the fact that there's a lot of yellow territory here, and I kind of don't want to mess with it in vanilla. Would be more worth our time and our while in SFO than here. So, in that light, we're going to do this a teensy bit differently than originally planned. Instead of teleporting Skulltaker immediately, we're going to go for the Unholy Manifestation and pop into Eternal War to regenerate his movement range, or speed, or range, or whatever. Alright, and the reason... Do I want to take the money or the tiny amount of skulls? Does not matter. Offers tribute. Alright, and the reason, or one of the reasons that we want to... Oh, no. Oh, ooh, okay, 3 seconds. I thought we were out of range. The reason we want to do that immediately is because we last episode checked whether this guy would be willing to confederate, and he'd be willing to confederate for any of our settlements, which aren't built up, or at the very least those on his borders aren't built up, which to me says most likely we should be able to confederate him by giving him his own settlements back as well. Unless I'm mistaken. So, we'll leave the settlement, and we will...
You're no better than fodder.
Come vassal minus 43, trade Schlantzek, which we just took, 26. And it'll give us some money for it. Alrighty. I suppose another thing is, the earlier we get one of the Dark Elves as our vassals, the more time we'll have to build up the allegiance, and the other nearest is Morathi, all the way up here, and she's Slaaneshi, and Khorne's rival. Khorne hates Slaanesh, so it doesn't, it feels appropriate to have destroyed Morathi, rather than vassalized her. So, Rakarth, well done, buddy. Propose offer. You are now our vassal, and your attitude is rising up to 113 with us, so solid. Solid. Unfortunately, we can't trade, but they can at least offer us some tribute, which is in the... you know what, 900 gold? It's not too bad. I'll take it. Drill Master, character experience gain plus 7%. Do we have a Drill Master on Skulltaker? We do not. Go figure. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that there's anything we could take off him in order to make use of that. Everything else is quite nice here. Yeah. So, alright, then the Skulltaker, I guess you're gonna go for the Skull Island. Or, you know what, more likely than not, we'll probably teleport away. Hey. I wonder if it would have been faster to go here. I would like to pick this mysterious island up. It's probably not going to happen, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, this is this little Melwyn army. They can have one of the Blood Hosts chase it down, though, so it shouldn't be any problem. Doom Reavers, you have a thing that you need to do as well, and that thing is we need to declare war upon Mazdamundi, so declare war. And because... okay, so normally I would have done this between the episodes, but this little tiny fight, we're gonna have to do this manually. There's barely any garrison, but we need to preserve as much of the Blood Host as possible. And the plan has changed a little bit, as I was originally expecting to kill Rakarth rather than vassalize him. However, because it has, we have to attack now rather than, you know, in another turn or whatever, so yeah. It's not like it'll take long. It's a couple skinks and 3 units of Saurus. All right, let's get our units together. Oh, all right. Not the ideal formation, but I'll take it. Do this. And maybe don't even spread yourselves out just so I don't have to deal with you for too long. Do this. We'll keep the hurt units behind, and I was already doing that. Go figure. All right, so we'll put you here. We'll put you here. Get around the enemy. Group 3 or group 2. Group 3. Group 4. Like so, and we'll begin. Or send you all this way, send you guys this way, send you guys this way, send the flyers close, but not so close that they can get javelins hitting them. Then speed it up to max. You stay right here. You guys go right here. And you guys, you stay here, and then you go, there. See how the enemy reacts to all this. Alright, flyers, you are safe, or at least reasonably so. Is that a Saurus unit moving towards our flesh hands? Don't do that. Alright, well, if they want to distract themselves attacking flesh hands, that's their business. Attack. Attack, attack, attack. Flyers, fly on over, and doggos, get ready to go. You guys hanging around, just back away from the javelineers. Alright, looks good to me. You guys charge all this blob. Alright, and then you. Touch down on maybe the Saurus spears? And then we'll have the Furies deal with you. And like so. And doggos, you can join in on this. And Furies touch down. Alright, anybody taking too much damage here? Okay, you guys, I think you're gonna need to actually do some work here. Go here. And we'll do buff. You guys charge into the flanks of this, and then you guys need to charge into the back of those Saurus warriors since they're being a bit of a toughie here. Alright. Otherwise, we're looking okay. Bloodthirster taking a teensy bit of damage, but not a huge deal. Flyers keep following enemies and chasing them down, and we'll move you all in to reinforce. You guys have taken sufficient damage that you want to back off, and I do believe... Can't get some of the doggos this way. Bloodthirster, you're done. Go after those Saurus warriors, and there's a unit of Bloodthirsters, or a unit of Bloodthirsters. Wouldn't that be swell? Bloodletters. Alright, I believe we're ready to speed this up. Oh, you should be fighting them. My bad. Alright, there we go. A little bit of damage to one of the units of Bloodletters, but otherwise fine. We'll give you a couple of extra seconds to chase some units down for potential extra rewards. Still not sure whether that's actually the case or not, but, well, the extra 10 seconds or whatever isn't going to cost us anything real anyway. And we're good. Well, at least as good as it's going to be. Yeah, there we go. 46 losses. More or less preserved. Lots of kills on our Chaos Furies, but they are going after the fragile units, so it does make sense that they killed more of the numerous and fragile skinks than Bloodletters killed of the Saurus. Significantly less fragile Saurus. Alright, and we will occupy the place because it has the... Oh, for the love of... Would have been nice to keep the marble game. Main reason that we wanted to keep this rather than sacking it. Oh well. What can you do? Ether Blade? Not great. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's worse than an Ogre Blade, which is 18% weapon strength. We can hopefully turn it into something more useful. Half Deer, stay where you are. And I do believe we're good to end the turn, unless I'm mistaken. Yes? Yes, you are good. Everybody else is good. We have... What unholy manifestations do we have? Call of Battle. Target settlement will be raised. Take control of an occupied ruin. I mean, we could do that. I'm just wondering if there's any real reason to do this. At least where we currently are. I mean, I guess we could occupy the Sentinel of Time. I don't see the need to raise any settlement in that manner because it kind of deprives us of sacking or skulls or whatever. I'm just gonna skip an end turn. Unless there were buildings to build, but there are not. End turn. What's so bizarre seeing our sort of entire pile of settlements generate like no cash, and Yuanbo, or Yuanbo's faction rather, will destroy itself. Goodbye. Grolka's gone. Rakarth is our vassal. LUSTRIA is pretty much ours. Sacred Pools are still there, but that's about it. Alright. Let's see what we got here. And... Huh? Quest battle? Oh, Exalted Bloodthirster. Oh, we transferred enough XP to Skinnerath from Skulltaker doing his thing so that he gets this. Lovely. The sheer carnage caused by this Khorne host has drawn the Blood God's attention. It's funny because it's caused no carnage at all. And so he sends one of his most exalted servants to lead it to even greater acts of bloodshed. Bring us to the slaughter, if you please. Now, poison? Ah. Do these guys normally have any kind of... get dampened effect. But we have to choose, so we could ignore that since he has poison. Bellow of Fury. I don't see any other effects here. Effect duration, Bloodthirst and Deathbringer, Burning Rage. Alright, maybe poison's not so bad. As odd as it seems. Call it a blood poison, shall we? Anyway, you keep on recruiting. We got a few more turns until these Skull Reapers are ready to go. No Wrathmongers available yet, but we'll get them up and running soon. The Rock of Inevitability. For 22 seconds, minus 26 melee defense, pretty solid debuff for charging, so it's not too bad. You will continue recruiting until the Exalted Bloodletters are ready to be transferred. Succeeds, province secure, jungles of green mist, sure. Aymara swamps, sure. Wait. Which is jungles of green mists? Jungle of webs. Not this. This one? Yes. Monument of Rage, Aymara swamps, where are you? Isle of the Crimson Skull? Yeah. Monuments of Rage for you as well, and alright. 2. And experience has been transferred to the Exalted Graded Demon. Now we'll deal with the buildings, but first we need to send these guys to sort of scout out. Hello, Whoa! Mazdamundi! 100 skulls, really? Or 100 champions' essence. Everything is skulls. I think that's worth it to travel up here. Not that his defeat rate is all that great for us, but that's nice. That's real nice. Alright, Skulltaker. Guess we're traveling up there after all. You can't reach Melwyn anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. We'll send the Bone Legion to kill you. We'll send the Scarlet Hunters towards the Skull Island. Scarlet Hunters. Just auto-resolve. This thing will be destroyed anyway, shortly. Money. Alright, Citadel of Dusk destroyed as well. Recruitment cost reduction for Fleshhounds. And go to the Skull Island and make the debut of this newer, more powerful sort of army. You, I believe, are good. So I want the Skull Island as well. We got 4 turns until the Raging Masters are... Alright, you're heading this way. And the Scarlet Reavers, I would like you to head close to the Sentinel of Time, but... I mean, I guess we could send you out here. There's other islands to pick up. There's not much that they're doing right now. And yeah, we could get them down here, but more likely than not, we'll just teleport down there. The defeat trait for Ashiotl is Vanguard deployment, right? That one I remember. And we don't have access to any kind of Vanguard deployment on Skulltaker unless... Okay, no, there's no other quest battles. Yes, so that's actually a decent trait. Get you a little bit closer to where you need to be. We'll take it. Alright, Skulltaker. Oh wait, let's send a scout to keep on scouting. Ooh, look at all these. Oh, wow. I could teleport here as well. Yeah, but all of this combined is less than the skulls or the essence on offer for Mazdamundi. And thus, Mazdamundi's probably worth a bit more. We got that unit experience gain, the character experience plus 150%. Well, 3 armies here as well. I'm gonna say Mazda. Should we start with Monument to the Moon, maybe? Raise it, as well as destroy this army, and then hit Mazdamundi second? Is that iffy, or is that dangerous? I suppose we likes it dangerous. Anyway, we live on the edge here. Warfriend, let's level you up before we head on into this fight. Hunt is what you're doing, so keep on doing that. Brass Tide. You have Hunt. I guess destroy is the only thing left. Destroy it is. And then the Skyla, one of the last sort of times you will be in this army, because your army is coming up soon. Rampant Ruination does nothing for us at the current time. I guess we'll go into maybe destroy for the additional armor, even if it's only 10. You know, let's get thick skin. You're still going to be at least a little bit vulnerable to range attacks. Travel to enemy lord, and the enemy lord we will travel to is here, to Jacob Rock. And also this way we don't have to pay the insane essence cost for traveling to Mazda, except then we will strike at the Monument of the Moon. Decisive victory, but I would say that's worth a fight. There's a lot of feral besties and a lot of Saurus, and in fact I think the game might be lying about our chances here. Okay, so it is a field battle as well. Ooh, and we are close to Ulthuan. Sword of Cain's going to be a better sword than the Slayer sword, let's be real here. And somebody suggested we teleport to the Empire to grab the Nemesis crown as well, and there's a decent chance that we might do that. I wish we could split this cultist into 2 cultists so that... There isn't a cultist building that allows you to make more cultists, is there? You know what, we'll put a cult up at Castle Drakenhof and we'll find out. You don't die putting the cult up, but then keep on heading up to Arbol. Wait. Khorne corruption? Okay, ooh, I thought he was dead. Speaking of dead. 62, okay, still no on the Scarby, unfortunately. But anyway, Skulltaker, time to fight once more. Isn't it always? Go. It's a nice stack, go.
I am Khorne's chosen, the murder god's own sacred executioner. Today, his eye is on you. Show him prowess!
Alright, hoping to show that prowess indeed, and it looks like the last defenders of LUSTRIA, ironically not the last defenders, but Heshuatla, and the City of the Sun will stand, probably not for too much longer, either if Skulltaker has anything to say about it. Anyway, as usual, we're going to start that battle off with our lovely Skull Cannon, fairly inaccurate of a shot though, surprisingly, at least for this particular artillery piece. Not to worry though, we've got time to annoy the enemy into moving towards us, and considering they have a fairly large number of both Saurus and Dinos, we'll want them to come to us. Certainly the more coordinate perhaps thing to do would be to rush towards the enemy, but well, we're still using by and large basic troops, so until then we'll need to be a little bit more careful. Or until we get the I mean, our retrofit is happening very, very soon, but we also want to get that, what was that thing called? The Demons Reforged, I believe? The thing that allows our demons to come back with a decent HP. Just like the Dead Rise for the undead. Anyway, looks like at least one unit of Saurus is annoyed at the Skull Cannon, which will fire over them into another one of their units, and take a good chunk of their HP off. Only 3 units killed, but about 25% HP loss is pretty solid. 7.2k damage done so far with about, let's say 30% of the ammunition used. It's pretty solid. I mean, obviously it's not going to be as strong as like a, I don't know, like a Dreadquake or a Fire Rain Rocket or a Hellblaster, or not, well, maybe not Hellblaster, but, well, probably not Hellblaster either. Hellstorm Rocket Battery, and not the like crazy artillery pieces, but it's still very, very solid, especially as we do have a dearth of artillery pieces in the Khorne roster. It's surprisingly good when you consider that. Especially the Regiment of Renown, but generally speaking, the Skull Cannons. Anyway, a couple more volleys and we continue to back off. I think the worst thing about the Skull Cannons is the fact that they do have a tendency to fire into the ground, even with a tiny, tiny hill. And considering that the cannon itself is raised up above, it's a little bit surprising. But the projectiles, you know, sort of like weave through the air a little bit, so it also does make sense. Anyway, 50 kills to its name and 9k. With the sort of a number of blobs the enemy is in, something like a Fire Rain Rocket would have done way, way more damage. But that's fine. We don't want to win at range, we want to win in melee. And here come the enemies. Another nice volley into the blob that's moving towards us. Enemies moving up the hill, and we're getting ready to A, defend, and B, charge down. Oh, poor little skink cohort into the Bloodforged host. That is a terrible, terrible matchup, and these skinks will get hacked apart like nobody's business. We are keeping our more hurt units in reserve. We did start the battle with damaged bloodletters after all. We're waiting for a few more units to close the distance before they head down there, while the healthier units defend. Of course, one of the main reasons that we wanted the enemy to come to us is A, the position that we have, but B, because we have these trees hiding our Brutes of Ferocity, Skyla, and both of our units of Blood Crushers, whereas the other trees here were hiding the Flesh Hounds, but they were found by this blob of enemies. Sometimes the AI does like to cheat and sort of look for your units, quote unquote, but you know, look for your units when it already somehow knows exactly where they are. Not a huge deal though. Skulltaker in the meantime is a bit busy and dealing with Yake Brock, the Kroxagor Ancient, who's having a very, very bad time against the greatest of bloodletters, but that time is cut short as Skulltaker brings the Kroxagor down. And all that with the Skink Chief and the Feral Basti attacking Skulltaker, who has taken no damage really whatsoever, and will continue doing his work. The bloodletters continue to hack apart Skink and Saurus alike, and are doing quite well here. This hilly position with the sort of cliffside to our side was quite nice. And I suppose out of all the Khorne lords and heroes, Skulltaker with his lines and being generally sort of calmer, it does make sense that he'd sort of react a little bit more tactically. Lack of skill undoes the champion after all. Ooh, there we go. Nice combination with those blood beasts jumping in. I have definitely not grown tired of their animations. They're quite entertaining. And it'll probably be maybe a couple of episodes and we'll have Skyla's army up and running with the lots of blood beasts and some gore beasts as well to act as their cap. Anyway, or chariots. Saw that feral bastard getting pushed around by that blood reaper, which was kind of surprising. I'm surprising that it had the mass to do so. I do believe that another Basti has been sent fleeing away from Skulltaker, who has also defeated the Skink Chief right after. The last of the units of Saurus and Skinks are fleeing by the looks of it. One last hurrah from them, but they will fail. They were actually kind of led away from the army by the Flesh Hounds, who unfortunately didn't really manage to contribute in this particular battle, as we didn't expect them to get found out by that blob, but they did loop around and prevented any units that shattered from coming back into the fray. And it all worked out quite well, as our losses were fairly minimal, which is exactly what we needed here, as we want to fight Mazdamundi this very turn. In fact, immediately after. In fact, right now. Alright, there we go, a lovely little fight, and gotta hand it to the AI. This is a very nice early game stack that they brought with those 5 feral basties, plenty of Saurus and mixed units at that, and just a couple of skinks to support. The lizard AI sometimes has a bad habit of just spamming skinks, which are obviously not going to be a major threat. This was a solid stack. No wonder they managed to win in the Isthmus of Lustria, and we are going to, well, we're having to deal with them ourselves. But once again, just the way we likes it. Lots of money, not as many skulls, but solid. And kill-wise, at 174, it looks like once again the Skulltakers take home the bacon. Hounds of Armageddon, 122 do manage to win the kills, but just very, very slightly edged out by the Bloodhound Tides in terms of actual damage done. Good job to both of you. Alright, we will... Ow. I was really expecting this place to give us more skulls and stuff. This is kind of disappointing. I'm almost tempted to sack it, but then we'd have to spend skulls to occupy it after, and we're gonna do that with Heshwatla anyway. skulls for the Skull Throne, I guess. The other option would be to spend some skulls and raise another Blood Host here. Considering how few skulls we get for this, I think that's actually the better option. Let's do Blood for the Blood God. Alright, and what do you have? Blood Crushers and Exalted Bloodletters. At least you have a Blood Shrine, no Skull Cannons, unfortunately, but we'll deal. Now we are in range of Mazda, and that's where we'll go next, but let's do a few things admin-wise before heading immediately into the next fight. Now, Half-Deer. Now, first of all, the Doom Reavers. I think we're going to want to push you northward towards the Fallen Gates, so let's pop you in camp. It's not like you're going to be around all that long anyway. Move towards the sort of furthest territory we have here. And hey, they're even recruiting there. And I guess we'll want to occupy it as well. We don't want to waste too much time growing here since we have landmarks and good stuff like gold and whatnot. Half-Deer. Right to the edge of this territory. And I was gonna pop Fragnus into your army. Temporarily, mind you, but yeah, we probably won't be needing the Marauders of Khorne anymore since the other units are coming up. By other units, I mean the, now these guys aren't in Nordic, well, whatever. The Wrathmongers are coming up. You can have training, and then you can have... Most likely Chaos Commander, but I think we'll wait on this a little bit, and I want to see. Yeah, get hard to hit for now. We'll see how the army fares. If it needs replenishment more than the Chaos Commander, we'll go for that. No guarantee, of course. Anyway, Blood Speaker. You're now renowned and feared. You don't need anything else here, and you are going to be a ranged army, guys. So I guess we will start leveling up the ranged units so that when you take them, they'll immediately be more powerful. And that is Marauder Horsemen. That is Hellforged Engines for the Skull Cannons. Funnily enough, all of the traits actually don't buff their range capabilities, but, well... And the Soul Grinders get melee attack and weapon strength, both of which are kind of inferior. The best ones are the defensive buffs, since we need those more than offensive buffs, which we have just insane amounts of anyway. So, Blood-Soaked Champions specifically for the Marauder Horses, which you don't have in this army, but that's fine. That's for now. Alright. Who else still needs to move? The Slaughter Host. Oh, you two. I mean, you two are pretty much done. If there's any, like, easy island we could pick up with you. Not the Skull Island. What is this? Fel Cargo. I don't remember if Fel Cargo has a fighter or not, but go there. And then I guess you can go this way, maybe to Cathay, see what's going on over there. Get us some vision of them while you melt away. And then potentially we can teleport Skulltaker over there for a bit. I mean, he'll be teleporting all over the place anyway, so, yeah. Alright, well, let's do a little bit of building. Piranha Swamps, we'll start with you. Definitely got to get those cultists up and running in droves, as we'll need them in many armies to support. I take it that cultists can't steal tech. I don't imagine... Khorne doesn't seem to be a steel tech kind of guy. Yeah. Oh well. So wait, do we have no way to actually speed up our tech at all? We just have to deal with what we got? Because it's gonna take a long time to complete everything if that's the case. Anybody know? Let me know if you know. Anyway, building. Back to you, Kent. Another The Armory. Headhunter's Jungle will want to upgrade the... I guess the Altar of the Horned Rat for another Hellport. 4.5k, reasonably expensive though. Alright, Jungles of Pawalasha. Yes, definitely the Cultist Outpost of Medicine, and most definitely Trophy Rex, and let's upgrade you as well. Lots of dimensional breaches in this area. I'm actually thinking that maybe it should be another mortal location. We need cultists and exalted heroes, probably more than we need more blood reapers. Unless something here... Wait, this doesn't do anything for demons, does it? It does not. It's just a straight up recruitment cost reduction. Yeah, I think we're gonna go for mortal places. Yeah. Anyway, Imara Swamps. You... Oh, well, you also need to be switched to mortal because we have iron here, so we have the recruitment buffs. Huh, am I going too heavy into mortal now? We'll deal with it. You can be demonic because you're already mostly demonic. There you go. Isn't that nice? It's nice. Alright, Machu Peaks. We're here to rebuild that cultist camp with marble. And last but not least, the Jungle of the Webs. We'll go for Poxmarsh, and we will... Does this do anything for anything? No. We'll go for the trophy racks. Lovely. That's all the buildings, and we still have cash left over, which we'll need for recruitment, but for now, the only thing we need is to fight. Anything else we need to do other than this? I don't think so. Go. Go for Mazda. Will he back off or will he fight? He will indeed fight. And looks like he hasn't lost the battle since the start. He has his starting Temple Guard. He's level 21. He's got his starting Reviv Crystal and a Kroxigor. Ooh, and he is on Zlak. Also, the fact that he's level 21 and 18 character skills means that while his army remains relatively unbuffed, he's going to have a lot of magics. And powerful ones at that. Gotta watch out for a few of those. Banishment, Ruination of Cities. You don't have anything that can silence him, do you? We need more brass collars. What do we got? 50% spell resistance? We should really hunt down Kairos. It's 15% spell resistance army-wide, I think? Or am I confusing SFO with vanilla again? I don't know. What I do know is what we're fighting. Go.
Skulls and blood for the Blood God, for Lord God.
I'm still very much enjoying Skulltaker's lines and just generally his voice acting and his model. You gotta admit, Skulltaker looks pretty great, sounds pretty great. He's just really fun all around as a lord. Anyway, Mazdamundi himself with Zlak, and he's got Cricket, the source that he always starts with, unless I'm mistaken. Although I do believe Cricket is a name that is in the generator, so it does tend to repeat itself. But these two, with their big old dinos, have pretty big HP pools and a lot of damage potential between them. Plus healing out of the Basti with the Reviv Crystal, so we do have to be careful. As usual, though, we will begin the battle by firing upon the enemy with that lovely skull cannon of ours, while we take position a little bit closer to the enemy army with our bloodletters. No real need for the enemy to come to us in this particular case, or in this particular battle, as the Fleshhounds, for example, are rather close to the enemy, and the Blood Crusher's there as well, so they can hit the enemy's flank at their leisure. Anyway. Looks like Cricket is brave enough to head directly towards Skulltaker, and he and Cool Tyran will face off against the that big ol' Carnosaur. Carnosaur kind of specialized for this sort of thing, so we'll see how effective it is against Skulltaker, who does lose about 10% of his HP, but the enemy loses about 30%. So far. Gotta remember that Skulltaker is maxed out in terms of his red tree at least, but he will, or his yellow tree rather, but he will get stronger once we continue getting more points in the Cloak of Skulls and giving him more stats via that means. It looks like the Saurus Scarvet is down to about half HP, though Mazdamundi has entered the fray now, and Skulltaker has lost about 30% of his, though we also gotta remember that he does have a healing activation, should he need it. The enemy are moving towards us, and we are doing the same as our line is looking to connect with theirs. Or at the very least, our axes or our great swords are looking to connect with their necks. Speaking of, looks like Cricket is shaken, winded, and heavily damaged, nearly executable as well, so by the looks of it, Skulltaker will have defeated him shortly. The main lines are now approaching each other. A banishment comes in and catches a few of our bloodletters, and there's that ruination of cities. Though by the looks of it, at least one of those whiffs. And, ooh, these are the regular Kroxigors. They look pretty good, huh? I'm wondering whether this is this because of the Keshwatla color scheme? I'm really liking the sort of red and yellow that they've got going on here. But Kroxigors always look pretty great. Oh, I love all the paint on these guys. Anyway, by the looks of it, Skulltaker has taken care of Cricket and now has turned his attention to Mazdamundi, breaking through his barrier, or Zlak's barrier, whoever's barrier, and using that Blood God's shackles to reduce his melee defense to 0. With 901 weapon strength and the prevention of healing on Mazdamundi, and that's got to be a pretty hefty amount of damage coming in. Speaking of damage coming in, the Flesh Hounds and the Riders, the Skull Crushers, have smashed into the left flank of the enemy army. Over on the right flank, we have a unit of Temple Guard that was protecting the enemy's flank, and the Brutes of Ferocity did manage to destroy them with the help of Skyla, forcing them to rampage and dishing out a bit of extra damage. The enemy's main line is very much in trouble at this point, and the balance of power is at about 85%. I think this is one of those rare times when I didn't have our entire army focus down that Basti with Reviv Crystal, as is usually done. But Skyla was busy with those Temple Guard on the right flank, and Skulltaker was busy with enemy lords and heroes. And speaking of, by the looks of it, Mazdamundi down to 20% of his HP, and as soon as he shatters, the rest of his army will follow suit, regardless of the fact that hey, he actually falls off. He doesn't just teleport. Regardless of the fact that Reviv Crystal remained alive. I suppose it didn't matter over much. What's your speed, by the way? 88, Skulltaker? Not bad. Not bad at all, sir. If Tretch Craventail's trait, the feat trait, was the same as an SFO, as in speed to the entire army, I would have gone to that rather quickly. But I believe in vanilla, Tretch Craventail's defeat trait is speed only for the Lord, unless I'm mistaken, unlike SFO. Not that that would be bad, it's just that Skulltaker's already pretty darn quick, let's face it. Anyway, Mazdamundi is defeated. He does, I believe, have one more stack that we can see, and possibly another, who knows. But his faction is close to breaking already. Alright, great work for Skulltaker. 20,000 damage solely to Zalak and Grimlock, and I guess Mazdamundi and Cricket, their riders as well. But very, very nice work. Once again, our Skulltakers, not Man-Eaters, win in terms of kill count for all of the Bloodletters, which does make sense considering there are only Exalted ones, but we got, what, one turn until our replacements are up and running, so we're definitely nearly there. Solid work from the Hellforge Bellowers is pretty much always, and I was quite impressed with the Brutes of Ferocity, the Blood Beasts, because granted they were led by Skyla, but they charged right into a unit of Temple Guard and lost, what, a single unit? That's really good. Really quite solid. And as for the doggos, this time around it looks like with 65 kills and 3.3k damage, these Spine Snappers were the winners. Skull-wise, it isn't anything crazy, but I feel like we need the skulls more than anything else, so we're going to reap captives. I'm actually surprised at the relatively lackluster skull reward here. It's a lot less than the skulls that we got from fighting Yuan Bo's army for some reason. Not entirely sure why. Now, you are unfortunately unable to reach Washti, but I guess you'll head there next turn. And first, I was supposed to join your army as well. I would still prefer more guys with defensive traits, but you know what, they're fine. Drill Master, Wailing Banner, Spawn Killer, Leadership War Asides. Yeah. Lustria Bowl, great time. Terrible traits all over the place. Anyway, head to Washti. Too bad Halfdeer can't reach the place, and frankly, it'd probably be a waste of time to do that anyway, but, you know. Nobody should be interrupting Skulltaker's hunt. Next, we want to go to the Cloak of Skulls. Then we do have 100 Champion's Essence to spend. We could get him a little bit of melee defense. We could get him, well, you know what, 250 skulls after defeating a lord. I think we'll do that. Into Demon's Reforged. We'll want it, and it's for all armies immediately. Yeah. Power, and this will cost 200, and I guess maybe we'll get both of these because they cost as much as this one. I just want all the skulls empowered first, especially because that's part of our victory conditions. Next up, do we have any hero capacities? We do have another one of these guys available, and I'm gonna say Strong is the one to take. I take it we have to recruit them all out of here because of the cultist camp. Alright, fair enough. Blood Reaper. What else do we have here? No new Exalted heroes as yet. No No good cultists. Maybe I should just take the ones with Maimer. You know, take the one with Maimer. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a better one. I guess what? I want to pop them into your army when you start to move, so we get you... Oh. Fine, get you here. Get Maimer. Yeah.
Cultist of the Blood God.
And we'll definitely need lots more capacities of those. Still not sure what to do about the Unholy Manifestation and the Ruin Occupation. You are currently in enemy territory, right? You're in Monument of the Moon, actually, so while you're... Huh. We could take Monument to the Moon right now. That would enable Skulltaker to heal to full, essentially, while sticking around. Maybe that's the better choice. On the other hand, it is 100% Khorne corruption here, so it would be an easy occupy. Yeah, we'll leave it for a few. I want to see about the other ones. If one of them is just being really stubborn, especially one of the ones near to the 1,000 Maws, we should probably grab those, just because it feels like we should. Bone Legion. You and the Scarlet Hunters are supposed to travel, so you're gonna grab this mysterious island and then look for other islands to grab, I guess. And Scarlet Reavers, you can head to the Sea Corps. Okay, fine, don't move. Fine. You want to be like that? Alright, now I get to go. So skip unassigned skill points and end the turn. Lord Schlotk is still not moving. So I guess these guys are in fact incapable of movement. Maybe we'll send an army other than Skulltakers out there to defeat them, just because it'll be a huge battle and... it's not only Skulltaker that should have the fun stuff. Could be a trial for a ranged army. On the other hand, we'll probably send those guys to Cathay just because they're the closest. And you're in march stance. But why? Maybe he couldn't escape anywhere, I'm not sure. Ally begins outpost construction, province secure, jungle of webs, very nice. And that's another monument of rage. And drawn to destruction, Sabaton. This province is not yet secured, we're still missing the Sentinel of Time, but we're getting there. Ooh, I don't think that this guy... Aha! See what he's doing? He's going to want to colonize that. How dare you? I wonder if he can reach it in one turn. Wait. Sabaton, and what is Tlak? Oh, saw that already. Alright. I really want this guy to colonize... Don't make us do to you what we did to Clan Spittle there, buddy. You're playing a dangerous game, is what I'm getting at. Slaughterhouse, go here next turn, you'll attack that. Crimson Beasts, you're headed through the sea lane. I wonder if they're immune to attrition while traveling by sea. Doom Reavers, you're gonna hit the Fallen Gates, and I might fight this between the... Oh! It's got... Oh, I don't even know. Huh, they got 3 Temple Guard. I guess the Fallen Gates themselves are... Yeah. They got solid stuff, but it's also solid for us. 2 Blood Reapers. 2 recruit ranks for Blood Reapers and minus 5% upkeep reduction for all Bloodletters and Exalted Bloodletters. Definitely worth our time. And decently likely worthy of a fight. Half-Deer. We should have Skulltaker attack this because he'll want the extra movement. And Swamp Town is at tier 3, but nonetheless might be worth the skulls since we're running low on skulls. Skulltaker will fight this in a second. Let's see what else we can or have to do. You will try to follow along. Doom Feasters. Well, we could sail you out and have you hit Skeggy. Or Ziggurat of Dawn or something. Could also grab this fell cargo while on the way. If you... Okay, you're attrition-y, except like... So. I mean, if we could pick up lost cargo or materials at sea, it'll be really worth the time and effort, so... Oh, speaking of... Can you get any closer? Go here. Alright, no attrition. Good, good, Doom Feasters. Feast on some Doom. 2 things we want to do. First of all, Skull Throne. Do we want to pop anything here? Income from post-battle loot? Yeah, we need the money. I like the replenishment on Skulltaker, but we'll deal with it after. Then diplomacy. I would like to diplomacy 92. Ah, you must have revived the army that was dead. Kairos, don't worry. We're coming for you, buddy. Just you wait. This. Haven't fought any, well, we have fought some, admittedly, but still want to fight some vampires. Raid the Cove and Pyrrhic Victory. Yeah, that's a lot of depth guard. This army will probably be so severely damaged by this fight that it won't be able to go on, but nonetheless, certainly worth the 20k. Go.
Eviscerate! Glory!
Alrighty, here we go. I am most definitely excited about this particular battle. Nice little break from fighting the lizards, and a very solid stack to be found, or was found, in the Skull Island. They outnumber us, which, well, it does tend to be the case when you're fighting the dead. They have 2 artillery pieces, a monster as well, and plenty of depth guard to their name, including the twin axes, which should be pretty darn solid at dealing with the relatively low armored exalted bloodletters. That said, our bloodletters are exalted bloodletters now. They hit a lot harder. They've got tons of armor-piercing damage on them, and ironically enough, we have the exalted bloodletters stack in a blood host before we get it in our main stack. Though that is the fault of Marcus Wolfhart. One last parting shot, as it were, from him, as he was able to take our settlement, and that was going to tier 3 and prevent us from getting those exalted bloodletters a little bit. Not that we really needed to rely on them, but there is still that. Anyway, here we go. The lines are connecting. The exalted bloodletters smashing into the depth guard in the front, and in the back we have our furies as well as our piles of flesh hounds and going after all the enemy range units. By the looks of it, we do have sufficient numbers of fast movers to prevent most of the enemy range units from firing, which is definitely needed, as we need time to deal with those units of depth guard. Alright, I'm particularly interested in this contest and seeing how well these 2 units do against each other, though in vanilla the depth guard are quite fragile, more fragile than they should be, in my opinion. I think in the opinions of a fair few people. I do like how they sort of blend in with the environment here with their armor rather. And I still think the Depth Guard are probably the coolest looking infantry unit in the game, but I'm pretty biased towards the vampires in general. But anyway, Depth Guard and zombies alike continue fighting. Over here we got halberdiers versus those great sword of arrows, but that should be definitely in our favor. Most of the enemy range units are in pretty bad shape, and our lord has reached the enemy lord, and it'll be Herald of Khorne versus Admiral, which over time should go in our favor as well. Out here, looks like most of the enemy range units are done for, but we are having trouble dealing with this rotting Leviathan. In fact, by the looks of it, we can't really hurt it all that much. So we're just going to ignore it in favor of destroying the entirety of the rest of the enemy army, which is rapidly dwindling in terms of numbers. These 2 are still trading blow for blow, relatively even. Nice slow-mo hit from our Herald, and there we go. Ooh, the double, the swing back, too. The slash into the backhanded slash. Very nice. Also got to remember that the Heralds or the Bloodletters do look small, but they're not that small. I mean, this guy's towering over the Admiral here, and that's with this guy. I mean, look at that posture. The sort of backwards jointed legs and the general hunched posture. Kind of like Skaven tend to be. If they were to stretch out, they'd be a lot taller. Same kind of thing happening here. Anyway, most of the enemy infantry is now done, at least following suit, as the falling disintegrating in the same manner as the range units did. The enemy of Admiral is done for as well, and by the looks of it, only that darn rotting Leviathan will remain. It's got 42 kills to its name, and I see that the textures on it are still broken. It's been like that for a while, hasn't it? The texture in the Rotting Leviathan seems to absorb the texture from any nearby units, and there's a few units that this seems to happen to. I remember when I was playing Malachi, I remember some dwarf unit. One of the maybe, I think it was the Goblin Hewer. Yeah, because it was a new unit. It must have been the Goblin Hewer, and I remember it being an artillery piece. It does the same thing, wherein it sort of all the textures break and it just absorbs the colors from something else. But anyway, I suppose it doesn't matter. Close victory and a nice little fight against these guys. Gotta find a few more Skull Islands and enjoy a few more of these, because they're tougher fights, most definitely, than what our blood hosts tend to encounter. And pretty cinematic ones as well in these lovely maps. They're dark, but everything's still nice and visible. Ooh, alright, a pretty tough fight, and as suspected, we did suffer a fair bit of damage for our trouble as well. The army is... well, they'll be able to fight one more island, one more Skull Island, probably a couple more little baby islands, but yeah, we could heal them up, but who knows how long it'll be until we reach another island, be able to fight and thereby stave off the sort of bloodthirst or whatever it is they have that prevents them from... but that forces them to suffer attrition. My point is, we should probably take the skulls. I hope I'm not wrong about this. Take the skulls. These guys will most likely disappear at sea anyway. Alright, now let's see if we got anything useful. A brass cleaver. Very much useful. I would have preferred materials at sea, but with the 20k, I'm hardly in a position to complain. You... And we'll have to send somebody down here to give us vision anyway, but for now, just gather islands where you don't suffer attrition. You've got 3 turns to move around. And while we will jump on Kairos, it'll be a little bit before we do, as we're busy with Mazdamundi until we set up the front with our new armies and then can leave with Skulltaker. Fortunately, now that he only takes 5 turns to get where he needs to go with teleportation, i.e. the cooldown, it's really not as bad as it was before. Alright, you, Power of Prescience, give us a potion of healing? Well, fantastic. Was not expecting that, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Well done, Blood Hosts. I like the idea of being able to send these guys out to sea. Speaking of sending out to sea, you're gonna grab this, and I think we...
all-powerful sorceress. Who seeks
a little bit worried about Dusk Peaks. I mean, I suppose we could, if you start moving over here, we'll get another Lord and we'll send you over there. Can't reach it in 1 turn. Right? We can wait 1 turn before force colonizing it. I believe. Alright, let's keep everybody else moving. Raging Masters, you're going to this Skull Island. More money. Slaughterhost, you have moved. Who else has not moved? Ginarath Sundervex, you are a new Blood Reaper, so you're headed up here where the armies are, where the fighting is. Felman Griddleson, son of the Griddle. Aggressive and knowledgeable. I still don't like these. Stay here, because you're actually going to pop into these armies. There we go. There's the Exalted Bloodletters. No Skull Crushers as yet, but we're getting there. And how close are we to Slaughter Brutes? Boyshul, tier 3. Ugh, we need growth here. You know what? Subaton. I guess we'll upgrade you. You know what? Let's upgrade everything. Try to get them growth up and running. That's why we're trying to get this frickin' thing. So Death Reap Blood. Growth per region after winning battles. Definitely in need of it right now. Piranha Swamps. Burgun, you'll have growth, and we'll get to you. Your immortal location? Yes. Let's get to you... I mean, this gives us construction reduction and more money. This gives us cultist capacity. We need so many cultists, so we'll get you. Shlanopek up to tier 3, but alas, your special building at tier 4. But nonetheless, build yourself up. Trophy Rex and +1 arsenal for more cultists. We'll build some exalted hero places too. Quetzal, get that trophy chamber up and running and go for... I mean, you can go for cultist and the other thing, so that's good. Spinus Sotek, Thrice Cursed Peak. Oh, you're going to be mortal because we have iron here, so do that. Isthmus of Lustria, yes to the marble. We'll need it to build up Heshwatla. The Jungles of Pawalasha, you are going to... I guess I decided to go all mortal, so mortal is what we're going to do. I'm Mara Swamps, you are... Are these mortal buildings? Yes. So you're going to need to switch when I remember to do so. You know what? I know it's a little bit of money, but I think I'm just going to do this now because I'm going to forget. Everywhere that has iron has to be mortal because it has the Warriors of Chaos recruitment reduction portion of the tree. Anyway, good. Amara Swamps, another one of these trophy chambers, another one of these demonic buildings, finally, at Talash. There we go. Unholy manifestations we'll save for next turn, and if we really want to be mean, we could we could destroy a building belonging to these guys, right? I don't think that would cause any. That would be really mean. But since they're providing tribute, we should make use of that. Anyway, Skulltaker, you're gonna fight again. We could have Hefty reinforce. If nothing else, we could allow him to let the Bloodwake Berserkers do a little bit of work. Maybe that's what we should do. Let's do it. Go here. We don't really need the reinforcement in any way. It's just that I want the... I want these guys to get kills. How many more kills do we need on them, incidentally? We need about 700. It'll be a lot easier once his actual army comes around, but it'll be a bit. Hit Washti. He's all washed up. He does have a very nice arm. Okay, maybe not so much washed up. He does have a Basti with Solar Engine, Razordons, Salamanders. I wish we could take Salamanders from the Lizards. I don't know if we can vassalize the Lizards. Nah, but the Lizards have a -100 aversion to us. Huh. We'll take a look at the Sacred Pools later. Because just to have access to fire damage dealing salamanders would be nice. Yeah, I know the range units, but well, the ancient salamanders are solid in melee as well. But anyway, we're obviously going to fight this. Seems like fun. It's low casualties and decisive victory because we have our second army, but really the only thing we really need to use are the Bloodwake Berserkers. Go.
Skulls and blood for the Blood God, for Lord Khorne.
Alrighty, here we go again. Likely to be the very last fight against Mazdamundi, or if not the last fight, at the very least at the last major fight. I don't see him having more than 3 full stacks running around. Maybe he has something else coming, but he should be in pretty bad shape at this point. And, that wasn't too bad. About 10% damage to the Feral Bastion. Surprisingly accurate shot from the Hellforged Bellowers. It was a waste of a shot, but I was curious as to what it would do. Enemies wasting shots as well, of course, as the Basti, the Solar Engine, is targeting the Skull Cannon, which is, well, I would say it's a smart move in the sense that that thing is very much a threat to us, but not such a smart move in the sense that this thing could probably actually get kills on our other units. And we can easily dodge each Sunbeam or Solar Engine shot that actually makes it past those trees, so we're okay. In the meantime, Skulltaker has made his way forward and going after this poor little Feral Basti here, which is getting a little bit of that heal from that, there we go. Okay, I was waiting for Inevitable End to come out. I was like, wait a second, shouldn't you have a massive heal reduction? And I guess these skinks are just a little bit in the way. Anyway, this potentially last fight against Mazdamundi, against Heshuatl, and against his faction, will... Ooh, nice shot from that Solar Engine right into our line of Bloodletters, and I saw a few of the Blood-Forged host melt away. This last fight will be a choke point battle. Haven't had too many of these throughout this campaign, and generally I would say that choke point battles probably don't favor Khorne. Sure, they would probably win in the melee aspect of the choke point. However, if the enemy has sufficient range and we're not able to get around them either with our fast movers or our cavalry or anything like that, then the enemy would be able to freely fire into our blobs of units. Our piles of melee troops, I mean, so definitely gotta watch out for that. Anyway, we're in the choke point now. Our big old pile of units is being held off primarily by these Feral Basties, I would say. Skulltaker has already defeated the enemy lord. It's just what he does, and will now head around to hunt single entities like those Feral Basties and whatnot. We've waited a little bit for our reinforcements to get closer. Really wanted these Bloodwake Berserkers to get into the fray, and here they come. Oh, I like the, once again, I really like their helmets, but I like these sort of the skulls, the horns that are facing like this way. Now they're kind of like almost like Jacob's ram skulls, right, with the multiple horns sort of thing. But this also kind of looks like mandibles, which is kind of neat. I wasn't expecting that from Khorne, because once again he likes the doggo things. Anyway, there we go. The Wrathmonger's looking pretty fantastic in the middle of all this, with the murderous exhortations causing all of that sort of bloody red smoke all around. We also have our exalted hero helping out. Might have a few of these guys in our Blood Reaper army, although I suppose we could have melee cultists with them as well. I'm not sure who would fit better. The cultists actually buff all the Wrathmongers and Skull Reapers, whereas these guys don't really buff anybody, they're just good fighters. But we would need something to deal with single entities, so there is that to consider. Anyway, looks like the Wrathmongers are ripping their way through those poor units of swords, and both of the units of swords that were here are booking it on out of there. The rest of the enemy army has by and large collapsed, dinos dropping all over the place in the same way that the lizards are, and while the Pterodon riders are coming back, probably not for too long. How are these Pterodon riders damaged, you ask? Well, when we started being engaged with the enemy army, I had the skull cannon actually fire at the Pterodon riders for a while. After all, I didn't really have much else to do, other than go into melee, but that's fine. Anyway, the enemy reinforcements are here. The battle is hardly over, and there we go. Now this is a good shot. You gotta love it when we actually fight in the jungles. Now, generally I don't like fighting in the trees because it's really annoying, but for the cinematic aspect, especially for tree lines that aren't super dark, where you can actually see what's going on, this is always pretty cool. Plus, it always feels like it should be what you're seeing a lot more of in Lustria. As, I mean, there's a lot of this generally happening in the, in whatever books and describe fights in Lustria. Well, with that and, you know, that just, again, never-ending sort of harassment by the Lizardmen. You know, little guerrilla tactics from the skinks, the poisons, the just general quality of life in the jungle not being super great for the humans that seek to plunder the gold or whatever. But anyway, looks like the enemy reinforcements are not going to be here for too long. They will shatter, and with that, yet another one of Heshwatl's armies will fall. We will give chase to them because the second army is coming in as a reinforcement from the enemy settlement, and anything that survives will have to be dealt with, but we'll do that off screen. Alrighty, very, very nice. 105 kills on those Bloodwig Berserkers. Certainly getting there, trying to actually do some objective gaming and get to where we need to go. We got 2.1k skulls, or nearly full, well, not full, but that's a lot of replenishment that we could use. It's also a lot of skulls, though. Damn. I mean, we can keep going. Screw it, take the skulls. Take the skulls this time. Then, assuming that Halfdeer can reach this, yes he can. So, we're gonna move Skulltaker, wait, Halfdeer, besiege Swamp Town. And then you'll take him in a second. Skulltaker, I would like you to move as far as you can this way. Halfdeer should be able to recharge you to either hit Port Reaver. Ideally, we could go Port Reaver to Heshwatla, but I'm not sure that that's the case. Coordinate Mutant, and... Aldred's Casket of Sorcery. Winds of Magic of this province will be set to the lowest level upon turn start. Character experience gain plus 5%, miscast base... Aldred's... lowest level. That... Hey, why do we get this? Was this a reward for something? Halfdeer Nightbane, Sound of Discipline, that's fine. Where did we get this from? I'm somewhat confused, admittedly. The ability to trap the winds of magic provides immense opportunity, be it for good or bad. Winds of magic in this province will be set to the lowest level upon turn start. That means I take it that if they're blowing, they will be weak or whatever, or quiescent, or I don't know what the lowest version of it is, but do we actually want that? Does that actually do anything for us? Because wouldn't we want the Winds of Magic to be blowing so that we can get more mana without actually having to sit in attrition stance? Am I crazy here? Anyway, what do we have here? Okay, this province is nearly complete, so it should probably complete itself. I'd like to see whether this gives us a nice reward. And we get 4.6k skulls out of it. I think that's what we'll do. Because we're going to sack Hishwatla since it's worth so much money. Skulls for the Skull Throne. And stop moving also for the Skull Throne. Alright, Juggernaut for Blazer, Blood Throne for Blazer. Half-Deer's getting some good stuff. Good for Half-Deer. And... okay, you didn't recover that time. Oh, I guess so it means that you only recover if it's battles, like battles, not... well, if you suffer from attrition here anyway. You could do combat trials to regain your mana. What are the defenders like at Hishwatla? Nothing crazy. Either way, you're both moving... You're gonna move right to the edge of this because their right is causing us to suffer attrition. Otherwise, Doom Reavers, you are gonna hit the Fallen Gates, and Scout and these guys have to keep moving. However, moment. Yeah, you're gonna go out here. And keep on traveling. Once again, we'll set up the thing here. It's a lot of army. Ooh, so many armies to potentially teleport to. How many turns do we have until teleportation? 4. Wonder if we have to, you know, teleport to Scarbrand and kill him in order to actually get this, because it ain't happening right now. Not a huge deal, mind you. Damn, I wanted to make another use of the Devotion's Tithe as well as the 1 turn left on Slaughter. I wonder if... no, it won't count. Darn. Oh well, not a big deal. Anyway, folks, I think with that, I'm going to call the episode here. There's this little tiny battle to do, and... wait, maybe I'll save that, I don't know. Because there's 3 Temple Guard in there. On the other hand, I mean, I know we'd win, but the Temple Guard would actually be a threat and would hold the line a long time against the regular Bloodletters. So I might save that. Either way, we're out of time. I'm calling the episode here. The next time, well, the Isthmus of Lustria has more or less fallen. Mazdamundi's faction will be destroyed. We'll take all this, teleport somewhere else with Skulltaker. These armies will be complete, so we'll retrofit Skulltaker's army with new Exalted Bloodletters. We'll send all of these Skull Reapers up north with this army, and then transfer armies as it's time to get Scar Bloodwrath on the field with his own army, and probably start trying to push out the next army as well. We'll see. Stay tuned for more Skulltaker. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold if you're into the hour-long episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.